Hi, everybody.
Hi.
Hello.
So, audience, we're a couple of minutes late because we decided at the last minute to change the show. We changed everything about it, I think. We're not going to call it Sidebar anymore. We're going to call it just like people talking at each other. I think, was that the title we decided
It's a fully food-centered show now.
Yep.
With some weather talk thrown in because apparently it rains mud in Arizona, and I was not aware of this until about 5 minutes ago.
I mean, not always, but we do. Sometimes we do get the mud shower.
Yeah,
that's so weird.
Can you imagine?
Yeah,
I can't imagine that.
Well, I don't have to imagine it. I live it.
No.
Yes.
No, I was talking
just saw it Monday night.
Imagine that, yeah, because it was. If that happened in Georgia, people would freak out.
70-mile-an-hour wind, and then it's raining, but there's still the dust going on. And so until the dust settles, it takes that rain to do that. And in the interim, it's mud. It really is
so weird.
It's just,
yeah, it's good times.
I believe you, but I can't believe it. I guess maybe is the phrase I'm looking for.
It's something you kind of have to see. Now, eventually it starts to get washed off as actual rain, kind of comes. But, in that in between, when you're still in dust storm and then the following rain, it is mud. It is clearly, it's just yuck and filth. It's a unique experience.
So, Mike, Julie is asking, it's either you get the haboobs or do you have boobs? I can't really read it. She's asking one of those questions.
You get the haboobs yet?
So, yeah, we haven't had any dust storms tonight yet. Again, Monday night, that was the big deal. But they always call them haboobs here, which is just silly because
yeah,
I didn't know what she was referring
just makes
to. I wasn't going to ask.
It does, and we're above that. We do not do childish humor here,
as I just demonstrated. Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, anywho, I told you we were changing the show. Not quite as bad as changing the name, but we might at some point. But anyways, we wanted to talk in the beginning here about kind of probation becoming a way of life, because we see it with people where they get a charge and then it just kind of keeps going and all of a sudden their career. And we'll talk about that for a little bit. But then we decided we wanted to pivot because we're passionate about that hearing in front of Judge Springstead from a couple of days ago, where you had the woman who was pretty clear, like almost immediately, that she was in a toxic relationship, and instead of ending it, she kind of stuck it out, and he kind of got his claws into it and refused to leave, and then it became a thing. And I think we'll just dedicate that half an hour maybe to Lindsay, because she seems to be the most passionate.
Michael was just as mad as I was.
Yeah, I was right there.
So I may just pull myself to the bottom of the screen at that point and let you guys go.
Just let them two have the show.
Oh, God.
Maybe. We'll rearrange when the time comes. That'll be your visual cue that the topic is changing. But let's talk about this whole probation thing first, because we see it all the time. And what's up with this? You got people who, some probations are complicated, but a lot of them are not.
Right.
And they can't complete the simplest of things. Like, all right, you got a $500 fine and you got to pay it off during the year.
Right.
It's handleable. It might be inconvenient, but it's handleable, but it doesn't get done. Or, you need to go complete 10 hours of community service and they do 1.
Yep.
They can't even luck into the other 9. Or, they have to do testing, which, it's inconvenient, but, you got to test twice a month, but you don't test. And is it that we make things too complicated, or are people just this lazy, or what? Because it seems like relatively minor situations that we see, like a drug possession or something like that, which, in the grand scheme of things, life will go on. Even a DUI, if it's your first, life will go on. But it turns into a thing because people can't get their act together. Yeah. So,
Dan, it's simple. Reporting. I mean, how many times you talk about getting fired up about something? All of us in the chat, all of us are always, every time we see this where someone doesn't report, it's literally the easiest thing you can do on probation. Just call. Like half the time you don't even have to report in person. You just go on Zoom or you pick up the phone and just be like, check it in, man. Just letting you know, hey, I'm still here. Okay, bye. I
haven't done anything wrong yet.
No crap. That's the easiest, literally the easiest thing to do. The second easiest thing to do, don't pick up any new cases.
Yep.
Two things that are the most common violation that I just, if I had hair, I would rip it out because I just don't understand I'm not going to call and I forgot. Like they'll say, I forgot. Like you're on probation and all you have to do, I just forgot about that whole crime that I committed thing, and now that was before a judge and they gave me all these conditions, and most of them are just like, as Judge Stevens would say, they're just the same things the rest of us have to do.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
But those are the two that
Don't
always
do crimes,
get me.
Don't do drugs.
Don't pick up new cases.
Yep.
Don't and report. The other ones, don't do drugs and stuff like that. Okay, but that, I understand some people have addictions. That might be a little harder. But the calling and reporting, and then the just don't pick up new cases thing.
Right.
Pretty easy to me.
The only excuse that I find that is valid is because they're in prison somewhere else.
Well.
That's an excuse, I suppose.
Your Honor,
there.
Sorry, I couldn't report. Why? You give me one good reason. Well, he says, it turns out I was actually in prison in another state.
Yeah.
Oh,
didn't we hear that today?
We actually did hear that today.
that a couple times a week.
Yeah, we do.
We didn't report because they were locked up and
we hear it a couple of times.
It happens a lot.
A week.
Or in the hospital or in the ER.
Yeah, we heard that in the board of
ER, in jail, or they're in rehab. And they don't want to check out a rehab.
Or they had COVID, like the Stevens case last.
COVID.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
How is that still an excuse, by the way?
COVID is still a thing, but of course it's much weaker now. And unless you are very susceptible, you have like a really bad respiratory situation. I mean, for the most part, it is basically a cold. With some exception. But
feel like
basically.
Trying to think of how I want to phrase this. I feel like the excuse of, I am ill or I am sick, not necessarily COVID specifically, but I have a communicable virus or infection of some nature. I think that's stuck around as kind of a don't freaking come near me kind of thing. Just from what we've learned over the last 6.5 years. But yeah, I think that the specific word of COVID is kind of like a boogeyman still.
Yeah, that could be. I invite people to come around me when they're sick, man. I'm trying to build up like warrior strength here. I need to be exposed to this stuff. That's my take on it. You don't train your body. Man. What'd you say?
I said I'll remember that when next time I get sick. I'm coming over, Dad. I'll be right over.
I'll mail you a Kleenex or two.
Neat, thanks. You guys always looking out for me.
Well,
gotta help you.
Yeah, get you that warrior's strength.
There you go.
So you're saying you're the house that held the chickenpox parties?
Oh,
everyone comes sneeze on Eli and all your other kids, so they get the chicken pox. Is that you guys?
No, they got it on their own, just through public school. Okay. Although Eli got the vaccine for it.
Okay.
He's never had it. I got it as an adult, though. I never had it. I never had it as a kid, but had it as an adult because Mallory got it when she was like in kindergarten, and then she brought it home to me. And that was
either one of those are fun.
I haven't had chicken pox. When I was younger, I had a bout of scarlet fever, but not chicken pox. I was a baby when scarlet fever happened, though. They had to put me in an ice bath and stuff. It was interesting. is for what I've heard. But yeah, but I haven't had chickenpox though.
Interesting.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right.
So
Back
see,
to topics since we've
So my
derailed
brain won't
already.
fry. But I think that's too late. I think they already fried.
All right. Well, since we're talking about fried brains, is that part of the problem with some of these people?
I think
I-
so. I think
Yeah.
maybe
Yep.
maybe from a combination of maybe drug use too. Maybe they are not off of the drugs entirely. And that is what like they can't. What am I trying to say? They're
Well,
it impacts their
actually-
decision making.
they're stoned,
Yeah.
Ashley.
Yeah, exactly.
They're unable
I like
to do
that.
anything because of
Well,
it.
I think it might be a case of altered brains, or it might be a case of badly wired brains, either by
Yeah.
like, just like we never saw accountability or
Yep.
proper behavior modeled, so we just don't know how to follow through on what we were told to do because no one else around us ever did it.
Right.
We could make an argument maybe for folks that have various neurodivergencies, to various mental illnesses, where it's like their brains can't or won't do the things that are supposed to be doing. I think there's a lot to be said here about just the wiring of some of these folks' brains. Where like, here's a list of things you have to do. Something in there goes, I'm not going to do any of these.
I
No.
wonder if they should look into the wiring when these people are first put on probation, because we see the people who have like already gone career where they're just not going to follow their probation, but we see a decent amount of people who are like on their first time of probation that come back because of violations too, and
Yeah.
that always strikes me. It's like their first time through the system and they're already messing it up.
Well, and there's something I was thinking of, like right before we hopped on, or right before I hopped on, 20 minutes after everyone else hopped on, is that probation is not meant to be the easier option. It is just the other option. It's not meant to be this like easy thing to do. Is it complicated? Maybe, maybe not. But it's not meant to be the easier alternative. It's just the other alternative to the incarceration piece. So it's not meant to be like, okay, well, instead of going to jail, you're just gonna be out in the world doing your thing. No, you have to be here and follow this set of rules above and beyond what you're already expected to as an everyday person. And I think that's just maybe a little too much for some people to handle.
But
I
a
suppose
lot
you
of
could
those
argue
rules,
it's the harder option, because
It
how
is.
hard is jail? I mean, you sit there. Maybe you become a trustee
Well.
and work.
Yeah, I mean, it's not hard on the physical, like an accountability piece, but I don't think it's necessarily an easy experience.
Well, no, I mean, the food
Yeah.
sucks and you might get stabbed, but
Yeah.
there's that.
It could also
but
be high school in 2026, though, too.
it could.
Very
So,
true.
Oh no.
yes.
That's true.
I
Putting that
don't
out
know.
there to the world.
A lot of the rules don't seem that difficult though. Like again, report, don't pick up new cases, pee in a cup, don't do the drugs. I mean, those
drugs
are
thing
really
is
the
hard, though.
basics. And like, have employment. If before you can move someplace, you have to check in with the parole officer.
Oh,
I don't know.
that.
Seems, or probation department, seems pretty easy to me. I would prefer that over jail. I mean, myself. Now, we have seen the cases where someone chooses jail instead, or where someone wants to go to jail instead of being on probation. And again, I will always go back to that Fleischer case with that young lady that was like, just give me the conviction, and just wanted the conviction because, and I surmised she just wanted the 30 days or the 60 days so that she could do that time and get out and then start using, that way she wasn't on supervision.
Right.
Or maybe it's that know thyself, right, Mike? So maybe they just know themselves they won't be able to get through probation. They just don't want to go through the hassle, and they just want to take that prison time.
I guess, but I mean, in the case
that's a
in,
level of maturity
Yeah.
that some of the folks we see coming through don't. I don't mean that to be like snarky. I mean that in a kind of an honest way. Like,
Right.
I think you're onto something where they're like, well, I know myself. I think, screw it, I'm just going to take the time. But I don't think they're really like thinking that maturely. They're
Or
just
maybe
kind of
they
like,
think that probation will be too hard and they're trying to
well,
take the
that's
easy way.
that's just it. They think that, hey, if I just do 60 days in jail is way better than a year or 2 years of supervision, because if I'm on supervision, that's just more time I can't smoke weed, or I can't do coke, or I can't whatever it is I want to do.
Yeah.
You know,
or take the conviction, but with time served, I'm done in 15 days. Whereas if I take
exactly.
probation, we're looking at a year, 2 years,
but it's like,
5
dude,
years, 10 years.
You could do, in some cases it's probation, but if you complete it, you don't even get a conviction. It's not on your record.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't, again, it goes back to what you're saying, Lindsay. There's no maturity there, because if there was, if you obviously would want to not have the conviction, especially in certain crimes like theft cases, crimes of moral turpitude, where once you have that, I mean, that's like the scarlet letter of cases. I mean, you good luck getting a license. Good luck being entrusted around money. So that's why, I mean, it's so important. Come on, it's not hard.
It's also cheaper to take the jail time too.
That's true.
Yep.
Yeah.
Even with like what you lose in, for some people losing wages and, just the ability to work, probation requires supervision fees and testing fees and fees and
Well, I think too, with some of them that we see that take the longer prison sentences, like the 2 years, the 3 years, we see that a lot with Judge Boyd. Right. I think a lot of them probably view that as that's 2 or 3 years that I don't have to think about it.
Yep.
I don't have to wonder where my bed is. I don't have to wonder where my next meal's coming from.
That's true.
I can see that.
And
very true.
That's
because
incredibly
probation,
sad,
you have to have an address or a roof over your head. You can't be homeless on probation.
Right.
We've had some people in probation in some areas that have been in a shelter.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, but then you have to stay in the shelter, and that doesn't always work out.
No. Yeah.
No, you want to talk about getting the COVID and stuff.
Yeah.
It's a good place for that.
Then when you move where they have to prove it.
Yeah.
Prove it if you live with somebody, approve that person to be around. Some people.
Obviously, courts would rather put people on probation than go to trial, because obviously if we went to trial on all these cases, the system would come to a complete standstill. So probation, and we can't just send everybody to prison that would be on probation either, else we'd spend all our days not worrying about whether or not we build a wall or whether or not we build an infrastructure for the country, but rather we would just spend all of our time building prisons. It would be a nightmare. So obviously probation is one of those, it's one of those that is society hopes is the fix, that it's the kick in the butt that these people need. And listen, a lot of people do complete probation successfully.
Yeah.
Supposedly
completed early.
Yeah, supposedly in Jefferson County, 93% of people completed successly. I don't know about that.
It's 9.3%.
Right.
Yeah.
But even if it's a little lower than that, still, and obviously we've read the statistics before about, the length of the probation and the age of the person on probation and the nature of the crime. All of those kind of play into whether or not they'll be successful. But still, you'd love to have more, obviously, success stories on probation, because it saves a lot of resources. The possibility of having to either go to trial, because some people are like, well, we could we could do this plea agreement, or we could go to trial, or it saves the prison system because it's like, well, we're going to let you out on probation. Hopefully you don't screw up because we don't want to put you in prison because, frankly, we're out of room in the prison.
Yeah.
So, this is one of those things where, it's a necessary part. And it's hopefully that's the problem, though, is we see more and more people on it. And it's an interesting trend. I know that
about 40 to 50% of individuals on probation complete their supervision successfully nationwide. So it's a 50-50 chance that you're going to complete your probation successfully.
That's not good.
no.
Nope. And
That's
one I
quarter,
found for
that's a quarter
Texas,
toss.
one I found for Texas is 60 to 65% completion rate, successful completion rate.
That's not great either.
Yeah.
No, and I'm not sold on that number, quite frankly, with what we see out of Texas, but maybe I'm wrong. We only see a small part of a very big state, but still.
Right.
But is it are we just not setting them up for success with probation? Is it you wonder if it's just not being explained well enough, or if it's just they're moving them through so fast, sign here, stuff hasn't gone through.
Yeah.
Especially with these things on these more minor cases, again, like a drug possession or a first DUI or something like that. And we see them back because they've had some kind of violation.
I think
Do they not understand the importance of it?
I think there's some truth to that. And I think you go back to my point earlier about brain miswirings, where like a lot of these folks, through either the bad wiring, the faulty wiring, the fucked up wiring, whatever happened to their wiring, they might just need things kind of explained slower or explained multiple times. And you just think about the caseload that probation officers have, a clerk that's, there for her 9 to 5 to punch your time card in and out and then leave, they're kind of getting shuffled through, and maybe just like we aren't.
But they do get it in writing, right? When they are on probation.
Yeah, but how many of us
read?
have gotten important paper, set it down somewhere,
Maybe.
and lost it?
Yep.
Oh, well,
And then
most people.
Goes like
and
this.
some of this stuff, I mean, look,
Yeah.
we see a lot of people come to the court systems, and we see it all the time here on TCF. And there are people that are like, well, I don't understand what that means. They hear a term, they don't know what unadjudicated probation means, even though the words, we know what they mean, but some of these people don't. And there's other terms that are used in some of these documents that people, and obviously a lawyer is supposed to sit down and explain this to you, and the probation department's supposed to explain this to you. But again, there's a resource issue there. Maybe the lawyer, they sort of say, hey, this just says you won't pick up any cases. This just says, and they explain it to them real fast, and some of them get it, and obviously some of them don't.
Yeah.
Now, maybe sometimes they do understand what they heard, but they're just going to do what they're going to do.
Yeah. There's a lot of that too.
Yeah. So, but clearly there are some things that people just don't completely understand.
Yeah.
When we see this with some of the more technical violations,
Right.
not necessarily I didn't report. Maybe they reported, and maybe they did test clean, but they,
diluted or something.
Well, yeah, it's diluted. They drank a bunch of water, but they didn't do anything on purpose to try and intentionally flub, the case. They just, something happened. So
Or the
sometimes
case that we saw, the woman had an old script for a Xanax. I didn't even think, like, why shouldn't I take this? Technically, it's mine. I had a scription for it, and then it flagged.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Just like a lot of those, like, flaws in logic too.
Yep.
Or I can smoke weed and take gummies. It's illegal in the state of Michigan. We hear that a lot too.
Yeah.
Even when they say like you cannot, like, but it's legal.
Right.
Or,
But
in McNally's. Oh, go ahead.
No. You just hear so many excuses. I think there's various reasons I don't think there is a way to specifically know why people, fail at probation. It could be for various reasons. Maybe they don't pay their fines. Maybe they, if it's a drug issue, they do drugs. It's all over the board. Maybe they're supposed to stay away from someone they don't stay away from. There's various reasons, I would think. Go ahead, Mike. I'm sorry.
I was just going to say, in McNally's court, we always hear him say stuff like, kratom, poppy seeds, you consume anything with that. It could be deemed a violation. And,
specific mention of poppy seeds has been cracking me up.
It does. It cracks me up.
Someone gets popped on that everything bagel.
I ate a poppy seed muffin. I just think of,
That's happened here in
People are putting
Wisconsin.
everything but the bagel seasoning on everything these days. So you have to don't eat the poppy seeds. No more everything bagels.
That's true. The local grocery store now has stuffed everything mushrooms.
Oh,
just like a bagel.
Interesting.
So poppy seeds
everything
and
mushrooms.
They're not that good. I prefer the spinach artichoke myself.
Yeah.
Oh, it's cool. Interesting.
Yeah. Well, this seems like a great time to transition. So let's do this. This.
I said everything I had to say.
Lindsay and Michael, the show is yours. We've got a half an hour left. Start going off on the Judge Springstead thing. I'm going to go check on the soup I have on the stove, and I'll be back in a minute.
Only Dan would make soup in Arizona in July.
Right.
I say that with all the love in the world.
Maybe cold soup.
That's
maybe
like
gazpacho. Maybe
gazpacho. Yeah.
Oh.
like people making chili up here.
Go back to Russia.
Yeah. He's gonna regret putting us in charge.
I'm all for it.
Well,
he's gonna come back when we're in deep in discussion about borscht.
So I will say the case in Judge Springstead's court. So this was a situation where a guy is accused of being very abusive to his girlfriend. And this is a case that started out, the details of this case were just incredibly bizarre. I guess she started dating him, and within a couple of weeks, within 2 weeks, he says to her, "All right, I'm moving in." And she's like, "Well, no, you're not. He
started parking in her driveway, and she's like, "Don't." And he's like, "I'm going to do it anyway."
And then he's like,
I'm
moving in.
I think I missed the beginning part of this.
And he's like, he's like, "I'm parking in the driveway. I'm moving in. I'm staying." She's like, "No." He's like, "Yep, I am." And and then it just snowballed from there to him, I guess, obviously over the course of months and months and years down he's just abusing her and doing all sorts of terrible things to her. But the fact is, it started out this way. And that's what caught my attention immediately. I thought, if someone parks in my driveway and I say, "Don't do that," and they say, "I'm doing it anyway, and by the way, I'm staying here," I'm like, "Oh, cool. Hi, police." I'm calling the local authorities. And that's where that relationship would come to a very abrupt end for most people. And again, not to victim shame, but what the hell is going on?
After 30 or so days, depends on where you're at, but generally they become a tenant. Then you have to go through an eviction process.
Oh my God. Yeah.
So that's where
I didn't even think about that point of view.
The abuse and everything like that. They have a right to be there after 30 days.
Oh, God, that's infuriating.
Told them to kick rocks.
It is.
See, in Georgia, it's not like that. If somebody had, if there is domestic violence or something going on, they have the right out of their lease. Like, they can just, there's no questions asked. They're just let out. But in other areas, I'm sure it's different.
Right. Well, and that was one maddening aspect to this case that just was driving me crazy, and I was raging about it in the chat. Like, how did you? Now again, and it's not to make any excuses or let this guy off the hook. He's hot garbage on a cold plate. He is there. He deserves everything that's coming to him and then some, because and this was part of a plea, by the way. You know, he was gonna, and there was serious prison time that was hanging over his head. But the other part of this, now keeping in mind, he's abused this woman for forever, basically.
I think it was 5 years, wasn't it?
Yeah. And
yeah, I'm looking it up.
And then he has the gall, he speaks on his behalf. He has the temerity, he has the chutzpah, the balls, if you will, to say, well, Judge, I'm not saying I didn't do some of this, but it's exaggerated. And besides, she likes it rough. She's one of those people that likes it this way.
Oh my God. That about sent me through the roof. And remember, I'm sitting on normally be a train. I'm on the bus that is the train going into work. And I'm like, people are looking at me because I'm like pounding my phone.
Yes.
I want to be on
under my breath a couple times, and people were just like, "I don't think she's okay." Again,
I want to be on that bus or train or whatever.
I think I've gotten that with my patio window right here, watching the show some days. People going by and seeing me.
I was still stuck on the whole, like, how do you not kick him out? It's 2 weeks in, and then that detail drops, and it's like, oh, he's running the blame the victim. He's running she actually wanted this, Judge.
Yeah.
Like, holy domestic violence playbook, Batman.
Right.
I pulled up the live chat or the feed from that day, and I'm watching the chat, and there's Austin. Please throw the gavel or smack him with it.
So I don't know if you guys mentioned this while I was tending to my dinner, but
no, we were talking about soup.
Excellent.
You let us run the show, Dan.
Yeah, well, that's fine. But the whole he went above the agreement thing when he sentenced.
So we hadn't even gotten to that part yet, but yes. So we were waiting on bated breath for what the judge was going to do here, because there's a plea, and generally speaking, usually, although that same day we saw Judge Stevens totally reject a plea where someone was going to get state jail. They were going to get 2 years when they were a habitual felon, like 3 convictions earlier. They were looking at 25 years to 99 or life. And instead they were getting a plea down to state jail, and Judge Stevens like, I'm not accepting this plea. So then, kind of with that in mind, here's this case that we're seeing, and generally speaking, these judges accept these pleas, and it was like 5 years. Well, the judge was like, no, I'm going to give you, what was it? Like, I think 5 years might have been the baseline that he was going to be given instead of the maximum.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was a cap of 5 for the agreement.
Yeah, that was the agreement was cap of 5, but the judge went beyond that. The judge.
Yeah, he sentenced 5 to 20.
5 to 20. Yep.
Wow.
And that's exactly what that guy deserved. Well, he should have gotten the 20.
99.
Well,
Michael, you literally put in the hot garbage on a cold plate line in the chat that morning.
I did.
Smashing shit and you still don't do anything. Okay, yeah, that's hot garbage on a cold plate, but how do you not take action?
Yeah, that was the thing. Right away, within 2 weeks, he's smashing stuff. He's breaking stuff in her house. And these are the facts of the case. And he doesn't really deny that part. He says, it's kind of exaggerated. But the judge is like, oh, so you're saying that it didn't happen? Well, I'm not saying it didn't happen, Judge. I'm saying that she kind of likes it rough. Like, dude, this isn't like aggressive bedroom stuff. This is like you're smashing stuff.
If you want to throw me into the wall and we're into that, and that's kind of our thing, by all means.
Yeah, sure. The drywall,
my walls for the
patch it up.
Oh, God. And there are some people, again, back to my, you don't always have the best role models. Like they kind of grew up in those environments, and that's just what their brain unfortunately recognizes as normal. And like when they're in a calm, loving relationship, their brains just can't recognize that. Like that's a very real thing that people use counseling for. But so that might be kind of why she's like, well, okay, I guess here we go. This is what love looks like.
Yeah, and some people.
He did say that he was in prior relationships, kind of similar to the one he's in now, type of thing, which makes sense in a way.
Well, it makes sense when you're an abusive dick. Yeah, it makes sense that you'd be in other relationships like that when you're, when you're that way. Oh, he was saying she was that way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's right too. He was like, "Oh, well, Judge, here's the thing. Yeah,
she likes these high drama, toxic relationships.
Yeah, she just does this.
I don't know if I want to take his word though, but
it's okay. She likes being with abusive dicks like me. It's cool.
Yeah, there are people that will use, unfortunately, as we saw, there are people that will like lean into that. Like, how am I so bad? That's what her old boyfriend did.
Common thing in domestic abuse or domestic violence as well.
I just, to me, that is the most insulting defense, if you want to even call it that, that you can possibly, you might as well just tell the judge, Judge, you suck. Like, you might as well just insult the judge's intelligence too. Oh, you went to Dartmouth, Judge? Oh, please. Like, you might as well just...
The reality of things is his statement could be right.
Yeah.
However, it is not his place to bring it up, and it certainly doesn't help him.
No.
But factually, he could be correct.
That was not the time and place to put it that way.
And here's the thing. Are there people that just, where trouble seems to find them? Yes, absolutely. And I even made that point in the chat too. Some people just, they have a penchant for trouble. They find high drama situations, whether it's through their own fault or not. It just happens to them. But that still does not excuse the behavior of absolute. And again, I don't want to just say it's men, because it's not always men that are domestic abusers, but but in this case it was, that's when it does not excuse the behavior of these men. It just does not excuse that under any circumstance. Just because somebody might, not totally be aware of what an abusive relationship looks like or smells like or sounds like. I mean, so what? I mean, this was 2 weeks in and he's breaking all of her stuff. Like, God, it was so infuriating. And look, we've seen obviously a lot of DV cases, but this one, just for whatever reason, maybe it was because it was the first one out of the box that day. Maybe it was, I don't know, but it just caught me a little off guard, just at how the sheer stones on that guy. Yeah, audacity, balls, whatever, the gall.
Yeah, I can't believe he brought all that stuff up when he was trying to defend himself. I mean, that would be like what's not to defend yourself.
I mean, why not?
Bad modeling, bad wiring,
why? Yeah, this is like, how about a little remorse?
Right.
Not, she deserved it, Judge.
Wrong. She liked it that way.
Yeah. Well, Judge,
he did not think he was in the wrong.
Broads, am I right? Hey, look at this, Judge. Huh? What's going on here? Like,
I'm stopping myself from just like commenting.
It's disgusting, for sure.
Yeah.
I kind of get sick to my stomach just thinking about, like, there's actually people out there that act and treat people that way.
Well, and think about this. Okay, this went on for years.
5 years.
Years this guy was out there doing this. And it makes you think, how many more situations are there just like this? Or worse, And fortunately, he is facing, is going to, do some time for this. There's a lot of guys out there that, or women. There's a lot of people out there who are in these, who do these kinds of things that, seriously injure or kill the partner in these domestic situations. And, or even if they don't, sometimes these things go unreported. They eventually break up. They get bored with that person. They move on to somebody else and they abuse somebody else. And that person never winds up going to the police, and that's just such, it is such a tragic thing when it's like that.
Say in this case, this person's actually quite fortunate that they had a police officer believe them, that it got to the point of prosecution, because there's so many cases where it's like, there's nothing we can do, go home.
Yeah.
She said type
or
situation.
we don't have any physical proof, we didn't witness anything, there's nothing we can do here, I'm sorry, go home.
Overall, I never get this whole DV thing from either side, the person giving or the person receiving. It just makes no sense whatsoever to me. From the person receiving, obviously, it doesn't make sense there because they don't deserve it in most. Well, and how do I want to phrase this? Unless they're egging it on, but even then they don't deserve it. But there are people that egg it on. But again, it doesn't make any sense. But then you look at the abuser end of things, it doesn't make any sense there either, because quite frankly, why are you wasting your time and energy? It's not worth it. It just isn't. I can't wrap my brain around any of this. There's no person on this planet that it's worth me going to jail over unless it's in defense of them.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Come at my wife and I will destroy you and probably your bloodline while I'm at it. And I'll happily go to jail.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But like, this would never happen, so it's a hypothetical. But if Beth came at me and wanted to have a fight, no, I'm out.
And not a pillow
it's
fight.
Not worth it. We're not going there.
Right.
No sense whatsoever. I can't wrap my mind on either side of the equation.
It's a ego thing.
Why?
Ego and maybe a kink thing is what I have kind of thought about.
Okay, the kink maybe. But I don't think my ego is small necessarily, but I certainly don't prop it up with violence.
Yeah, some people do, though.
I prop it up with trying to be the best I can be at the things I'm doing and crush the competition.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ashley brings up an interesting point. Like, there are people that, it's not.
It's power.
Like, again, what consenting adults do, and if you want to get into role play or whatever, that's one thing. But some people they fight, and I've seen this independently, even long before TCF on police body cams and all this stuff. You'd see these calls. They go out for this, and they go out to these same residents over and over, and these people fight, and then they kiss and make up, and it's like it's just as volatile, one way and the other. They have these crazy fights, and then they're like, oh baby, blah blah blah. They just get back together and they go for it again, and they just do this weird cycle, and it is almost a kink thing, or it's almost
you almost become
kink.
Kind of addicted to that
raw
feeling when things are good.
Yeah.
And it's like, but I know how good it is. And he's not a bad guy. He just loses his temper sometimes. Like, it's a very real feeling of like,
well, he's not bad.
It'll be okay.
And I deserved it. And I started it.
Yeah,
and, he just responded. And and how many times have we seen this? And, I think of so many different cases when I hear this. Obviously, what was that guy? Brian Laundrie is that guy that he killed Gabby
Petito.
Gabby Petito.
Yep.
You know, that was
Brian
a domestic thing. Yeah, Brian Land. And he killed his girlfriend out there in like wherever that was, Yosemite or somewhere up in that area.
Yep.
After they got stopped in Utah, because there was a domestic situation that it's a little unclear as to who started it. It might have even been her that kind of got violent with him first, but whatever the case.
Yeah. Because you start a fight doesn't mean you deserve to die.
That's right. It does not.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. It kind of doesn't matter who starts it really. I mean, well, it could, I suppose, if one person is clearly
They're trying
the
to
aggressor.
like charges, yes.
Yeah. But I mean, it's one of those things where had the police maybe done something, now, and this is just such a what if, but had the police done something to either of them at the time or both, maybe Gabby Petito would still be alive today. Now, maybe not, because how this usually works is they always go back to each other and, oh gosh, lovey-dovey, let's make up because, you know, I still love you. I forgive you too. Let's smack each other around some more later. You know, but who knows, right?
Right.
So that's the thing about these kinds of cases, and it's just so frustrating. It is so maddening to watch. And I'm just glad that justice was served on this one.
I think
we all applauded the judge. I mean, I could not.
Yeah.
I don't normally do that. I was physically clapping here, not just in chat, but I mean, like literally, I sat here and clapped at my computer screen when the judge handed down that verdict.
Well, even better than the verdict, the line that he said about you'll get the same treatment in prison.
Oh my God, that was
That was perfect.
Fleischer level of.
I couldn't believe he actually said it. Because I know everyone was thinking, and I think probably got thrown around in the chat a little bit, but to hear it come from the judge.
Yeah.
That just like blew my mind a little bit.
Yep.
Not something I would have expected from Newaygo County, that's for sure.
No. We've heard Fleischer kind of throw that out there. We've even heard Judge Boyd throw that out there at people.
Yeah.
About what happens in the prison, but this was a little bit different. And the way he said it though was just like, hey, you're going to get yours, dude.
Yeah, and it landed so perfectly because the guy had been so defiant and had been so like, well, kind of like whatever about it. Like, that's just how she likes it. That's just how it is. You know, it's not really that bad. I'm not that bad of a guy. And the way the judge went, yeah, bitch, here's 20 years. You're going to get yours in jail. Have a nice day.
And and here's the thing. Based upon what we know about how people that commit domestic violence are treated in prison, he's definitely going to get his.
Yep. Either that or live the full time in protective custody and still
or
potentially get that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I don't know what's worse, being in protective custody where you're by yourself all the time and 23 hours a day in a box.
Yep.
Or being in Gen Pop and
you never know when that shank's coming. Yeah.
Out there with
it has happened.
What are the names we have for the prisoners? There was the sarcastic characters. There's Bubba. There was another one we had.
I don't know. Snake? I don't know.
Snake.
Snake.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm happy that he got the sentence that he got. I think it makes sense. I still, though, this case is just an example of, you know, life is so short, and the choices that people make, and how they live them just baffles my mind. You know, I think about the relationship that Beth and I have, and it confuses a lot of people, I think, because in a lot of ways we do things differently than most couples do, but we're cool with it. So you know what? It's not your business or your problem. But and it's just kind of how we interact with each other and whatnot. I think it's unique. But the one thing that we just simply don't have is really any real fighting. It just doesn't happen. The most we'll do is have a disagreement, and it's usually squashed in 5 minutes. And neither one of us want to waste our time or our energy,
really no
yelling and screaming at each other and calling each other's names and putting each other down and these things that lead to the violence. We won't even go there. We're not in the business of speaking bad of each other.
Right.
And hurling insults, because it just drains a person.
Mm-hmm.
It does.
And it leads to potentially things going like overboard. I wish more people would get it. And if you can't achieve that with the person that you're with, then you should probably reassess things.
Right.
Because it's such a waste of time and energy, especially if it blows up and one of you ends up in jail over it. It's messed up. And, these are supposed to be the people that you're the closest to, that you love and support.
Right.
And if you can't do that for somebody, leave. If somebody isn't doing that for you, leave like as fast as you can. And I don't know.
I think some people get into some relationships to fill the void, to what's the word? Like kind of fill a void within themselves in a way. I feel like that's one of those dangerous position to put yourself in. If you feel like
it's a vulnerability.
It's the vulnerability of that person. And so my mindset is I need to be right myself before I ever enter relationships, because you just never know. And that vulnerability, they can feed off of that. And it's just very dangerous. And I just want to put that out there.
Are some people who enter relationships not to find a partner or to find that love, but really just to find the person that they can control, because whatever's misfiring, again, bad wiring, they feed off of that ability, that having that ability to control and manipulate someone.
Mm-hmm.
And so they throw out those love signals to lure that person in, and then do whatever they're going to do that makes their brain happy.
Mm-hmm.
And then when they see that person pulling away, like there's that person, I think that person we saw there was 100% some kind of sociopath, some kind of mental whack out that I don't even want to begin to pick apart. I am not a doctor. I'm in sales, but it's like,
you nailed it. You don't have, Lindsay, you don't have to be a doctor to nail that one. That's that is. This is not like, this is not requiring Sigmund Freud level of analysis. Yeah. This is a person that he told you everything you needed to know about him when he said, oh no, Judge, she exaggerates. And besides, she's like that anyway. She just likes this.
Yeah, that right there was the mark of, that is not a mentally well human being. And not that that's an excuse at all. But that is just like his brain is not programmed the way a normal human's brain is, because a normal person doesn't see a person of their preferred relationship partner, like they don't see that person and go, I'm going to beat the crap out of you and park in your driveway and smash your house. They go, I want to like go to dinner and get a movie and maybe move in and paint a house and have a garden and like have a life with you.
It's like R. Kelly, light. It's like the 1 calorie version of R. Kelly. This dude, like, he's
light.
Well, I wasn't gonna go quite that route, but yeah.
Well, I mean, Well, he basically had this woman hostage. I mean, when you think about what he was doing and what his approach was and the facts of the case, I mean, the only difference is she was an adult and not a minor. But I mean, other than that, this dude is pretty much on that kind of level. Just it's one at a time. Also, instead of like 10 at a time in a dungeon someplace. But I mean, it's the same kind of mindset of I've got this person. Not only like I don't just control her and manipulate her, but I mean like I go the full route of being completely violent and dominating her with my manliness. I'm very manly. Well, you're going to find out how manly you are now, dude, because remember, There's always someone bigger and stronger than you, and they may very well be
and they
in
will take
the
offense
prison.
to you putting a hand on a woman because they might be in prison, but they love and respect their mama and their wife. And
right. That was,
again,
domestic violence people in prison are not quite the bottom rung. The child stuff people are at the very bottom. The snitches are right there, and then the DVs are so it's that you're still in the bottom tier. And
you're down there.
You know, yep. So, good luck, bro.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Before we wrap this up, I've got one question. So, Lindsay, I agree with your sales analysis that this guy was a sociopath. I totally agree. So that's kind of puts him on a different level. But I do wonder, you know, we see so much of this DV stuff in the courts that we watch. It's right up there with the crimes against people who are a little too young for such crimes thing.
Yeah.
You know, they're both way too prevalent. Do you wonder if some of it is the fact that so many have been in a rush to just be in a relationship and not be alone, and not that their brains are miswired. They're rushing to whoever they can get, and it's just setting up a powder keg because they don't really know the person. And then the next thing you know, they're sharing an apartment.
Yeah, that's a huge part
all
of
the
it.
red flags.
You know, there's not a lot of place in society in general for an unmarried person of any gender, like especially unmarried woman. Like, there's a huge pressure to find a person and be in that relationship, be in that marriage, and just kind of roll with whatever comes, you know, in good times and in bad. Like, so yeah, there's a lot of that. And I think we do see a lot of people end up in these more violent situations because we don't model proper ways to express emotions, and especially anger, and it does tend to come out in physical ways. And we don't model, like, hey, instead of like clocking you across the jaw, like, why don't we just talk this out before it gets to the point where you're so mad you're gonna clock me. And again, this is for the people that aren't truly off their rockers, like sociopaths, but just someone that didn't have proper relationship dynamics modeled for them, and this is just what comes of it.
So it's another modern society has broken us thing.
I mean, I think not necessarily modern society, but flaws in structures of society.
I think it's kind of, I hate to say this, I think it kind of has always been there, in some extent. It's just gotten,
everything has always been there, Ashley.
Well, yeah, but I'm just saying
nothing
that
new under the sun.
right.
Yep.
But I just feel like it's even more prevalent today. Is all I'm saying.
I think there's seasons to
more
things.
about
There's
it.
an ebb and a
People are able
flow.
to speak out more about it now.
Yep.
Right. That's true.
Yeah.
That's what I think too.
That's possible. All right. Have we beaten this subject enough, or do we need to
I think.
get in one more jab at anybody?
I mean, F that guy.
There we go.
I hope he meets Ray and Johnny Buns, as Barbara put it.
Yep.
And
On that note, do you want to close us out, Lindsay, since you're up in the captain's chair, or do you want me to do it?
It's all yours, Dan.
Okay, let me slide back up here. There we go. All right. Well, I hope you all enjoyed Sidebar tonight. We kind of made it up at the last minute, adding the second topic, but it was spirited for sure. And I think per our normal arrangement, we didn't solve anything.
Nope.
So that's good, because I'd hate to have to unlist yet another episode. It's nothing worse.
So you mean there's only 82?
Yeah. Lindsay, are we doing food part 2 tomorrow morning?
We are.
Excellent. Okay.
And
So-
for an added little twist, Brandon may have sent me some Central Wisconsin blotter as well. So we'll throw that in.
Ooh, okay.
Oh,
So you
wow.
got, if you're a channel member, you got to show up for the pre-show tomorrow, because it sounds like it's going to be the Lindsay show. So show up for that.
Fantastic.
If you're not a channel member, fix that and then show up for the pre-show tomorrow. And that's at 8:30 Eastern, 5:30 Pacific. Yeah, in the morning, like really
One
early.
of those.
Yeah. And then we'll be back tomorrow morning for the big show at 9 a.m. Eastern, 6 a.m. Pacific for Super Friday. Guys, this was fun.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you.
Always good to
Thank
talk to you guys.
you.
Yep.
And we'll see everybody tomorrow. Take care. God bless.
Bye.
Bye.
Have a good night, y'all.